At my wife's funeral, her brother leaned over her casket and whispered, "You've got 72 hours to sign the papers, Robert. After that, I'm taking you to court." I nodded slowly, touched Linda's cold hand one last time, and walked away without saying a word. That was 3 weeks ago. Marcus is sitting in a county jail cell right now, and I'm still on the farm Linda and I built together over 38 years. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning. Because this story doesn't start at a funeral. It starts 6 months earlier, on a Tuesday morning in April, when I noticed my wife had started locking her bedroom door at night. I'm Robert Hayes, 64 years old, retired from the Pittsburgh Fire Department after 32 years of service. Linda and I met when I was 26 and she was 23. She was a paramedic. I pulled her out of a collapsed building during a warehouse fire in 1985, and she told me later she fell in love with me right there, covered in soot and coughing up smoke. We got married 8 months later. We never had children. Linda couldn't. Something about scarring from an infection when she was younger. It hurt her deeply, but we channeled that love into our farm, 75 acres in Somerset County, Pennsylvania. Rolling hills, a creek that runs clear and cold, and a view of the Laurel Highlands that takes your breath away every single morning. I built our house with my own hands. Took me 3 years, working weekends and evenings. Linda designed every room. She picked every paint color, every light fixture, every doorknob. Her younger brother Marcus had always been what you'd call the black sheep. Dropped out of college twice, started a dozen businesses that failed, borrowed money from everyone in the family that he never paid back. But Linda loved him fiercely. She was 10 years older than him, basically raised him after their mother died when Marcus was 8. No matter what he did, no matter how many times he disappointed her, she always took his calls, always helped him out. When Marcus started his contracting business 5 years ago, Linda co-signed a loan for him, $70,000. I wasn't happy about it, but Linda insisted. He's family, Robert. He just needs one real chance, one person who believes in him. For a while, it seemed like maybe she was right. The business appeared to be doing well. Marcus showed up to family dinners in nice clothes, drove a new truck, talked about big projects. Linda was so proud of him. But then came that Tuesday in April. I woke up at my usual time, 5:30 in the morning, and found the bedroom door locked from the inside. Linda was still asleep. This had never happened before. I knocked softly. She opened it a few minutes later, looking exhausted. "Sorry," she said. "I've been having trouble sleeping. Didn't want to wake you with my tossing and turning." It happened again the next night, and the night after that. By the end of the week, it was routine. Linda would kiss me goodnight, go into our bedroom, and lock the door. I started sleeping in the guest room. I asked her about it. She said she was going through menopause, having night sweats and insomnia, didn't want to disturb me. But Linda had gone through menopause 3 years earlier. I knew something was wrong, but I also knew my wife. She'd tell me when she was ready. In May, I noticed she'd started keeping her phone with her everywhere, even took it into the bathroom. She'd get text messages and her face would go pale. She'd excuse herself, go outside to make phone calls, come back in with red eyes like she'd been crying. "What's going on?" I asked her one evening in late May. We were sitting on the porch, watching the sun set over the hills. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Marcus is in trouble." "What kind of trouble?" "Financial trouble. The business. It's not going well. He's behind on that loan I co-signed. The bank is threatening to come after my assets if he defaults." I felt my chest tighten. "How far behind?" "4 months." "That's $16,000, Linda." "I know." She was crying now. "I know. I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner." I pulled her close. "We'll figure it out. We always do." But it got worse. By June, Marcus stopped returning Linda's calls. The bank sent letters. $20,000 past due. Then 25. Linda was beside herself with worry and guilt. She started having anxiety attacks. Couldn't sleep at all some nights. "He won't talk to me," she sobbed one night. "My own brother won't even talk to me." I called Marcus myself. Got his voicemail. Left 3 messages. No response. In July, Linda started working extra shifts at the hospital where she volunteered. She was trying to save money to cover Marcus's debt. At 62 years old, after working her whole life, she was working herself into the ground to protect her little brother. Then came August 15th. I'll never forget that date. I was in town getting supplies for a fence repair. Linda was home alone. I got a call from Sheriff Tom Davidson at 2:47 in the afternoon. I pulled over when I saw his name on the screen. Tom and I went way back. We'd worked together on multi-agency emergencies for years. Robert, his voice was strained. There's been a fire at your property. I don't remember the drive home. I remember seeing smoke from 2 miles away. I remember the fire trucks, the ambulances, the crews working to contain it. And I remember Tom catching me before I could run toward the house, holding me back, telling me Linda hadn't made it out. The fire had started in our bedroom. By the time the neighbors saw the smoke and called it in, the whole second floor was engulfed. Linda died of smoke inhalation. They found her in the hallway, trying to get to the stairs. The fire marshal ruled it accidental. Faulty wiring in the bedroom. Old house, old electrical system. These things happen. I couldn't speak for 2 days. Couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. I stayed at Tom's house because mine was uninhabitable. The second floor was destroyed. The first floor had severe smoke and water damage. Marcus showed up on the third day. I was sitting at Tom's kitchen table, staring at nothing. Marcus walked in, and for a moment, I thought he was there to grieve with me. We'd both lost Linda. I'm sorry about Linda, he said. He was wearing a suit. Why was he wearing a suit? But we need to talk about the property. I looked at him. Linda co-signed that loan, he continued. The debt passes to her estate, which means it passes to you. Unless, he paused, unless we work something out. Get out, Tom said from the doorway. Marcus ignored him. I have investors interested in the land. They want to develop it. Subdivision, 40 homes. They're offering $1.2 million. That would cover the loan, give you enough to rebuild somewhere else, and I'd get my business back on track. I still couldn't speak, couldn't process what I was hearing. My wife had been dead for 72 hours, and her brother was trying to sell our farm. Think about it, Marcus said, leaving a business card on the table. Let me know. The funeral was 5 days later. Small service. Linda didn't have much family besides Marcus. My old crew from the fire department came. Tom and his deputies came, some of Linda's friends from the hospital. After the service, people filed past the casket to pay respects. I stood there, numb, watching Marcus work the room like it was a networking event. And then, when most people had left, he approached the casket. I was standing on the other side. He leaned over Linda's body and looked straight at me. 72 hours, Robert. Sign the papers, or I'll take you to court for the full amount of the loan plus interest. You'll lose everything anyway, but this way you'll walk away with something. I nodded once. Then I walked out of the funeral home without a word. Everyone thought I'd broken. Tom tried to get me to stay at his place. Don't be alone right now, he said. But I needed to be alone. I needed to think. Here's what nobody knew. I wasn't broken. I was angry. And I'd learned a long time ago, working fires, that anger without strategy just gets you killed. Because here's the thing about that fire. I'm a firefighter. Was a firefighter. 32 years of investigating fire scenes, determining points of origin, identifying accelerants, understanding electrical systems. And I built that house. I knew every wire, every junction box, every outlet. There was nothing wrong with the wiring in our bedroom. I'd replaced the entire second-floor electrical system 6 years ago. Up to code, inspected, certified. And Linda had been locking that door for months. The fire started at 2:30 in the afternoon. Linda always took a nap at 1 o'clock. She'd lock the bedroom door, lie down for an hour or two. Someone had set that fire. Someone who knew Linda's routine. Someone who knew she'd be alone, asleep, behind a locked door. I couldn't prove it. Not yet. But I had my suspicions. So when Marcus gave me that 72-hour ultimatum, I didn't argue. I nodded. Because I'd already made my move. Let me back up a little. Remember how I said Linda started acting strange in April? The locked doors, the phone calls, the anxiety. That wasn't just about the loan. I knew my wife. I knew when someone was threatening her. In June, 2 months before the fire, Linda came to me late one night. She'd been crying. She sat on the edge of my bed in the guest room and said, "I need to tell you something, but I'm scared." Scared of what? Scared of what Marcus might do. She told me everything. The loan had defaulted completely. Marcus owed $90,000. But that wasn't the worst part. Marcus had been using her identity. He'd taken out credit cards in her name, forged her signature on documents. He'd racked up another $40,000 in debt that was tied to her social security number. He said if I told anyone, he'd deny it all, Linda whispered. He said he'd say I was in on it, that I helped him. He said we'd both go to jail. That's extortion, I said. He's my brother. He's a criminal. She broke down. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix this. I held her while she cried. And then I said, I know someone who can help, but you have to let me handle this. The next morning, I called a buddy from my fire department days, Jack Morrison. He'd retired a year before me and started a private investigation business. Jack specialized in financial crimes, insurance fraud, that kind of thing. I need you to look into someone, I told him, quietly. Jack started digging into Marcus. Bank records, business transactions, property filings, everything. It took him 3 weeks, but what he found was damning. Marcus's construction business was a shell. He'd been taking deposits from clients and never completing jobs. He'd defaulted on multiple loans. He was being sued by 6 different people, and he was about to lose everything. But here's where it got interesting. Marcus had been talking to a development company called Highland Properties. They'd approached him about our land, wanted to buy it, develop it into a subdivision. The catch was, the land wasn't Marcus's to sell. It was ours, Linda's and mine. Jack found emails between Marcus and someone at Highland Properties. In one email, Marcus wrote, "The land will be available soon. I'm working on it." That email was dated July 20th, 3 weeks before Linda died. I showed Jack's report to Linda. She was devastated, but also relieved. Finally, proof that she wasn't crazy, that Marcus had been manipulating her. "What do we do?" she asked. "We document everything," I said. "And then we go to the police." But Linda was scared. "He's still my brother. Can we just confront him first? Give him a chance to make this right?" Against my better judgment, I agreed. We set up a meeting with Marcus at our house for August 20th, 5 days after Linda died. She never made it to that meeting. After the fire, after the funeral, after Marcus's ultimatum, I went back to Jack. "Tell me about the fire investigation," I said. Jack knew people in the fire marshal's office. He got me a copy of the report. Cause of fire: electrical malfunction in bedroom. Point of origin: wall outlet near the bed. I drove to what was left of our house. The second floor was mostly gone, but I could still access parts of it. I stood in what used to be our bedroom and looked at the wall where the fire supposedly started. The outlet was melted, charred, beyond recognition. But I noticed something. The burn patterns were wrong. In an electrical fire, the burning radiates out from the source in a relatively uniform pattern. This fire had multiple points of intense burning, and they didn't radiate from the outlet. I took photographs, lots of them. Then I called another old friend, Mike Carruthers. He'd been the fire marshal when I was still working. Now he ran a private fire investigation consulting firm. Mike came out the next day. He spent 4 hours examining the scene. When he was done, he showed me his findings. "This wasn't electrical," he said. "Someone used an accelerant. See these pour patterns? Someone splashed something flammable along the baseboards, probably gasoline or lighter fluid. Then they rigged the outlet to spark and ignite it, made it look like an electrical fire. Can you prove it? I can provide expert testing too. But you'll need more than just fire science. You'll need motive and opportunity." I had both. That evening, I called Tom Davidson. "I need to file a report," I said. "I think my wife was murdered." Tom came to Jack's office, where I'd been standing. I laid it all out. The financial fraud, the extortion, the development, the timing of the fire. Mike's findings about the everything. Then he said, "This is circumstantial. We'd need physical evidence linking Marcus to the scene. What about phone records? Location data? I'd need probable cause for a warrant. What if I can get him to confess?" Tom raised an eyebrow. "What are you thinking?" "Here's what I did. I called Marcus and told him I'd sign the papers. Asked him to meet me at the property to go over the details. Said I wanted to understand exactly what I'd be signing. Marcus showed up right on time, 71 hours after his ultimatum. He had contracts, appraisals, transfer documents. He also had his girlfriend with him, a woman named Jessica Park. She was a real estate agent with Highland Properties. I didn't know about Jessica. That revelation was coming. We stood in the driveway of my burned house. Marcus spread the papers on the hood of his truck. "Sign here, here, here," he said. "Transfer of deed to my name, release of co-signer liability, all of it. You walk away with $400,000 after debts are settled. That's fair, Robert. More than fair. Is it?" $400,000 for a property worth over $1 million? Property's not worth anything with a burned house on it. Cost of demolition, environmental cleanup, it all adds up. I looked at Jessica. "And you're the agent handling the sale?" She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Highland Properties is very interested in this location. We see tremendous potential. I bet you do." I picked up one of the contracts. "When did you first approach Marcus about this land?" Jessica's smile faltered slightly. "I'm not sure I understand the question. It's simple. When did Highland Properties first express interest in my property?" Marcus stepped forward. "What does it matter? The point is, they're interested now. It matters because my wife died 4 weeks ago. And according to these documents, you're getting a finder's fee of $200,000 for securing this land. That's a lot of motivation." Marcus's face went red. "What are you implying?" "I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. You needed money. Linda co-signed your loan. You couldn't pay. The bank was going to come after her assets. But if Linda was dead, and I signed over the property to you, you'd get your finder's fee and clear your debts. That's motive, Marcus." "You're crazy," Marcus said, but his voice wavered. "Am I? Let me tell you what else I know. I know you forged Linda's signature on credit cards. I know you used her identity to take out loans. I know you threatened her, and I know the fire that killed her wasn't an electrical malfunction. Someone used an accelerant. Someone who knew she'd be home alone, taking her afternoon nap, behind a locked door." Jessica backed toward her car. "I don't know what he's talking about," she said to Marcus. But Marcus wasn't looking at her. He was looking at me, and I saw it in his eyes. Recognition, fear, guilt. "You can't prove any of this," he said. "Actually, I can. I have financial records showing your fraud. I have emails between you and Highland Properties dated weeks before Linda died. I have an expert fire investigator's report confirming arson, and I have your location data from your cell phone." That last part was a bluff. I didn't have his phone records yet, but I was counting on him not knowing that. Marcus's hands were shaking. "Linda was my sister. I loved her. You killed her. For money." Jessica was in her car now, engine running. She wasn't sticking around. Marcus looked at me, and something in him cracked. "I didn't mean for it to happen like that," he said. His voice was barely a whisper. "I just needed the land. I just needed to. She wouldn't have suffered. The smoke. It's painless, right? You're a firefighter, you know." She just went to sleep. I heard car doors opening behind me. Tom Davidson and 2 of his deputies had been parked down the road, recording everything. Marcus saw them and ran. Didn't get 10 feet before the deputies tackled him. Tom walked up beside me. "Got every word," he said. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. Marcus's words kept echoing in my head. She just went to sleep. The investigation moved fast after that. With Marcus's confession on tape, Tom got warrants for everything. Phone records showed Marcus had been at our property the day of the fire. Security footage from a gas station 4 miles away showed him buying a 2-gallon gas can that morning. Forensic analysis of his truck found traces of gasoline in the bed. But they found more. They found text messages between Marcus and Jessica Park going back 8 months. They'd been planning this for a long time. Jessica had identified our land as prime development property. She'd convinced Marcus he could make serious money if he could deliver the deed. They'd discussed ways to acquire the land. In one text, dated July 28th, 2 weeks after the Gaskin purchase, Marcus wrote, "Everything's set, just waiting for the right moment." Jessica was arrested 3 days after Marcus. She tried to claim she didn't know about his plans, but those text messages told a different story. She'd been in on it from the beginning. The trial happened faster than I expected. Marcus took a plea deal. Second-degree murder, arson, wire fraud, identity theft, 35 years to life. He'll be 90 years old before he's even eligible for parole. Jessica got 20 years as an accomplice to murder and conspiracy to commit fraud. Highland Properties fired her and cooperated with the investigation to avoid prosecution themselves. But here's what a lot of people don't know. There was a third person involved. Marcus's business partner, a guy named Ryan Hodges. Ryan had helped Marcus forge documents and launder money through the construction business. When the investigation widened, Ryan got caught up in it. He pleaded guilty to fraud and got 8 years. All 3 of them are in prison now. Marcus at State Correctional Institution, Somerset. Jessica at the Women's Facility in Muncie. Ryan at a federal prison in West Virginia. I testified at each trial, told the full story every time. I looked Marcus in the eye when I described finding Linda's body in the hallway, trying to escape. I wanted him to know exactly what he'd done. After the trials ended, I had to figure out what to do with my life. I was 64 years old. My wife was gone. My house was half destroyed. I could have sold the property, taken the money, moved somewhere warm, and tried to forget. But this land was Linda's dream. She'd planned every garden, every fence line, every tree. I couldn't just abandon it. Instead, I rebuilt. Used the insurance money and my savings. But I didn't rebuild the same house. I built a training center, the Linda Hayes Fire Safety and Education Center. It's a nonprofit now. We host training programs for rural fire departments. We teach fire prevention to schools. We offer certification courses for fire investigators. The land Linda and I loved is now helping train people to save lives. We opened last spring. Tom Davidson came to the ribbon cutting. So did half my old crew from Pittsburgh. Mike Caruthers teaches courses here. Jack Morrison does fraud prevention workshops. In the main hall, there's a photo of Linda, 62 years old, laughing, standing in our kitchen with flour on her face because she'd been baking bread. Underneath the photo, there's a plaque. In memory of Linda Hayes, paramedic, sister, wife, friend. She spent her life helping others. This center continues her legacy. Sometimes, late at night, I walk the property. I stand on the hill where Linda and I used to watch sunsets, and I talk to her. I tell her about the training we did that week, about the lives we're helping save, about the good we're doing with this land. And I tell her I'm sorry. Sorry I couldn't protect her from her own brother. Sorry I didn't see the danger sooner. Sorry I wasn't there that afternoon. But I also tell her that I kept my promise. The land she loved is safe. It's doing good work. And the people who took her from me are paying for what they did. 72 hours. That's what Marcus gave me. He thought it was an ultimatum. He thought I was a grieving old man who'd just roll over. He didn't know I'd already made my one call. To Tom, to Jack, to Mike. I'd set everything in motion weeks before that funeral. I just let him think he'd won. Sometimes the quietest move is the most powerful one. Marcus learned that too late. I'm 65 now. I wake up every morning at 5:30, make coffee, and watch the sun come up over the hills. The view still takes my breath away. And I still feel Linda here, in every tree, every stone, every blade of grass. This farm was our dream. Now it's our legacy, and no one will ever take that away.